We know Path of Exile 2 will contain 7 distinct acts, but where might each go? What might each contain? And what will the eventual story of Path of Exile 2 amount to before we lead into the shared endgame between Path of Exile 1 and Path of Exile 2? We're about to commit some serious speculation heading into Exilecon 2023 with all of the information provided to us by Grinding Gear Games. Let's begin, fellow totally sane exiles. Overall, I'm positive the campaign will revolve around the Seed of Corruption, this vaguely aberrant and scourgish creature we saw in the initial PoE 2 trailer, the Act 2 trailer, and the Ultimate PoE 2 logo reveal. It'll also lead us to a wide variety of brand new areas and biomes, each with diverse terrains and enemy types, if the trailers are any indication in the slightest. Let's go act by act. Confirmed by the developers themselves, Act 1 of Campaign 2 takes place on the island of Agam, home of the Ezomite tribe. This is where Einhar Frey, the original Beastmaster, and Thane Jorgen the Banished, one of the members of the Immortal Syndicate, hail from. Einhar will return in PoE 2's campaign, no less sane in the 20 years past PoE 1 and the death of Kitava. Agam is an isolated isle of dark forests, gothic villages and crypts, and rocky fjords and riverways. Lots of new tile sets. A man called the Iron Count presides over the area we start in. Here, us exiles survive execution when our rope breaks. We flee into the river and wash up on the banks. Helped by the villagers of the Clearfell encampment, we eventually meet a strange entity called the Hooded One, whose dangerous possession, the Seed of Corruption, was stolen by the Iron Count. The Hooded One, someone likely from PoE 1, potentially Sin, enlists our help and we attempt to retake the Seed of Corruption. Unfortunately, we must fail and it's taken to the Vestiri Desert. Before we take to the dunes though, let's touch on the enemy variety in Path of Exile 2. We received an in-depth look at Act 1 in 2019 with multiple gameplay playthroughs. They showcased a wide variety of enemy types, models, abilities, and strategies, far more than even PoE 1 and other similar ARPGs. This is a huge positive in hack and slash games. Numerous distinct enemies aren't only great for the campaign to ensure every area is unique, but it also means they can be reused assets all across the limitless endgame. Another win. In Act 1 alone, here are all the enemy types I caught upon analyzing a few of the gameplay previews. Zombies, crabs, wolves, imps, grubs, devourers, mud golems, many werewolf types, plant serpents, maw demons, various undead infantry, fungal rattlers, fungal zombies, ghouls, gargoyle demons, death knights, bramble apes and hulks, hags, mercenaries, blood cretins and demons, tendril prowlers, and a host of bosses, all with unique models and abilities. Additionally, there's likely more that we have not seen yet. That's a diverse pool of monsters. I hope they can keep it up with all the future acts like Act 2. But before we peer into what might be PoE 2's future, please consider subscribing to this channel and hitting the notification bell if you enjoy the content. I greatly appreciate all of your support. Every subscriber and all notification bell exile helps. Set in sandstone by Grinding Gear Games, Act 2 occurs at least partially in the Vestiri Desert. Following the events of Act 1, we're in pursuit of a Faradun caravan that carries the Seed of Corruption. Our primary form of movement is a huge Ardura caravan, a literal moving town. Both are Marikath tribes, a culture we're very familiar with from PoE 1's narrative. As we travel from area to area in the story, the caravan changes its position and surroundings in the world dynamically, a first in Path of Exile. The Vestiri Desert contains endless dunes, biting sandstorms, deep canyons, and enormous fortresses. More novel tile sets. We'll be able to visit a place called the Valley of Titans, which will come into play later. There are also seems to be some deadly, colossal foes, which I am all for. I'm guessing we fail to catch up with the Seed of Corruption, and it manages to reach the coast of Rayclast, and is shipped off to a distant, jungled realm. We were teased with a ship area in the initial PoE 2 trailer. This is where I posit we'll board the ship to chase the Seed, perhaps battling a few foes upon the seas during the voyage, as the ship and surrounding water appears to be a tile set. At the same time, I also believe we'll begin our ascension in Act 2, given this will be a 7-act campaign. Perhaps during our pursuit of the Seed, we are beckoned back to a familiar place to PoE 1 players, the Forbidden Sanctum near the Fellshrine ruins. There, we begin our ascension and interactions with Lycia, a herald of the Scourge. Honestly, these ruins need not be near the forest encampment. They could be a ruin anywhere the Templars, the creators of the Forbidden Sanctum, lived in the past. Regardless, I think Act 2 will begin our path to Ascension, and that method will be through the mechanics of Sanctum League. Here's where we truly begin to speculate, fellow exiles. Assuming the developers are continuing to release teasers sequentially, act by act, the first Summer Games Fest snippet showed us Namakanui, the homeland of the Marauder in PoE 1, and the initial empire of Kaum and the Karui. That's Act 3. Moonlit jungles, overgrown temples, blighted villages, and mossy caverns dot this realm. Plenty of compelling areas to explore. The Seed of Corruption probably beat us here and infected many of the folk of the land, as observed in the Namakanui teaser. It's rampaging about, and, keeping up our pursuit, we learn it is connected to the pseudo-demons of Rayclast, the Scourge, in some manner. The Scourge were originally introduced in Scourge League as multiversal invaders, beings who overran innumerable other Rayclasts, but hadn't yet conquered our world. Although the storyline was essentially removed upon the end of the League and the removal of the main storyteller, the last to die, the Scourge replaced Beyond Demons and were also a strong presence in the recent Forbidden Sanctum League. In that league, we actually ventured beyond and learned about the immense potential power and gifts the Scourge and their leaders, the Scourge Lords, held. Perhaps the Seed of Corruption is the progenitor of their ultimate invasion to our world. Perhaps it's the gateway between the world of the Scourge, Beyond, and our own. Or could it be a budding Scourge Lord amassing power in the mortal world? On the total opposite end, some people think it's not a Scourge at all and just the origin of the beast, the creature the gods Sin molded to put all the gods to sleep and help Rayclast survive. Yeah, my mind's buzzing and I might be way off, but let's keep going. Act 4 then delves into some ancient Val ruin in a mountainous, arid, but putrid landscape, a severe disgrace to the primeval queen of the Val, at Ziri. This is Agarat. The Seed of Corruption seeks out a powerful Val artifact for some mysterious reason, and we try to find the relic first. This will be PoE 2's City Act, except it'll be in a doomed Val city carved with labyrinthine streets, decrepit sewers, and murky shrines to dead Val gods, plus large-chested beasts. We are surmounted, and the Seed of Corruption manages to open and enter a portal to Beyond, using the Val artifact. The opposite of crawling out of the PoE logo in the brand new logo reveal, it crawls into this alien hellscape and taunts us, promising to return with a host of frenzied, horrifying monsters to cover Rayclast in corruption permanently. Without the careful hand of a deific entity to control it, the Seed has gone insane with might. We're seriously lacking a series of icy and snow-laden areas of Path of Exile, so I'm going to be bold here and suggest that Act 5 will have us go to a distant, hopefully snowy northern realm, Bariel. Placed to the west of the Vestiri Desert on the map of Rayclast, we've never visited it and have only seen it mentioned sparingly in-game, most recently with Kirek's Atlas Memories. He battled Harbingers in Ferial and was plagued with nightmares for months afterward. Now, of course, I'm reaching, but perhaps the Harbingers are the next League content connection to the core PoE 2 campaign, alongside Sanctum and the Scourge. To combat the threat of Corruption's harsh return and the invasion of the vile Seed of Corruption and its allies, we must travel to distant Ferial to learn about the Harbingers, perhaps how they travel between worlds, and how we can halt the Scourge from entering our own. In Ferial, we descend towering mountain peaks, descend into blizzarding summits, and explore icy caverns dotted with Harbinger structures and designs. Honestly, Act 6 is the murkiest for me, but I think with a little bit of thought, I might know where it goes. After learning some secrets related to the Harbingers, we're forced to delve into the depths of Rayclast in search of help from one of Rayclast's earliest inhabitants, the Titans. We'll learn more about them in Act 2, as the trailer and quest names hint toward, but whatever we learn about the Harbingers will beckon us below. This shall lead us into yet another drastically different environment of Rayclast, a goal I think Grinding Gear Games will be striving for. Bubbling seas of lava, magnificent caverns, and dilapidated remnants of the Titan civilization. Inside these cavernous depths, we'll unearth a path into the final act and a way to hopefully stem corruption from Rayclast forevermore. In my vision, everything points for us taking a trip into a new world to conclude Path of Exile 2's campaign. Climactic Act 7, I predict, will take us exiles into Beyond, this setting's prime extra-dimensional realm. Not only have the Scourge played a prominent role in 2 of the most recent leagues, and they seem to originate somehow from this realm, this would also prepare players for leaping into the Atlas of Worlds after the campaign ends, a device that literally allows us to travel to countless other worlds. Plus, if Act 7 drives us into a hell-like world with a PoE flavoring, it'll be an excellent tribute to the game it is the spiritual successor to. In Beyond, we'll confront the Seed of Corruption, slaughter it, and temporarily cut the connection between the mortal world and beyond, only for it to stutter as we begin to toy with the Atlas in the Epilogue. Right, the Atlas. All of this being said, Path of Exile 1 and Path of Exile 2 should lead into the same epilogue or endgame story and setting. Presently, the most recent narrative is the Siege of the Atlas. Our world is threatened by eldritch entities from far-flung, indecipherable worlds. These foes have names, the Tangle and the Cleansing Fire, who both sent champions to conquer us and the Atlas, the Eater of Worlds and Searing Exarch, respectively. Assuredly, this will change when or slightly after the official launch of Path of Exile 2, leaving all these iconic battles in the game, but updating everything to take the tale of Path of Exile's second campaign into account. Even with us defeating the current champions of these two cosmic entities, the Searing Exarch and the Eater of Worlds, we still know more are coming to attempt and claim the Atlas and our world. The Maven's creator, features related to the Elder, maybe some more Exiles will rise up and conquer. Whatever narrative hits Path of Exile after PoE 2's release, I'll be ready to play and cover it. I'll see you there. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe and hit the bell for more Path of Exile content. Plus, give it a like and share your totally not unhinged opinion in the comments. I'd love to see your version of the vision. For those of you who'd like to join the ranks of us totally sane Exiles and directly support the growth of this channel, consider becoming a patron on Patreon or a member here on YouTube. The links are in the description. Massive shout out to this channel's members. Thank you for all of your tremendous support. Tala Moana.